Hey, what's going on? My name is Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to talk about what friends really are, because so many of us are out there saying that I have high maintenance friends, I have low maintenance friends, I have wishy-washy friends, I have sometimes friends. I don't know. We qualify these people as our friends. And I just want to tell you from my own personal experience that if we stop calling those people friends, we would expect less from them, and we would be less disappointed when they don't show up in the way that we think friends should be. So even though we have that qualifier there, I think we should call them something else. In this episode, I'm going to talk about some other ways you can label these people without calling them friends of any kind. Because truth is, sometimes they're not. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, we've got your work friends, we've got your childhood friends, we've got your online friends, we've got your activity friends, we got your supportive friends, your casual friends, your long distance friends, and your loyal friends. We've got all kinds of friends. It's confusing. I think it is a disservice to who are those people, who are real friends. How do you know who is a real friend to you if you're labeling all these people as a sort of friend, kind of friend, maybe friend? Nah. So what I want to talk about today is the fact that we're doing this. We're labeling people as friends, and they probably shouldn't be. They probably shouldn't be labeled as friends. They could be something else. And I think that we don't necessarily want to call them something else, and I think there's a few reasons. Like, something else is in, they could be an acquaintance or an associate. You know, they could be somebody like that instead of a friend. And the reason why I say this is because, well, when we label people as friends, I think there is a confusion of what they are supposed to do. So I think the reason why we have labels in the first place, if I could just step it back a little bit, the reason why we have labels in the first place is to help us understand the actions and behaviors that are associated with the person. So we say you're a work friend because I know that you're at work and there are some things that we do that are friendly at work. So a work friend, childhood friend, online friend. There's a place that you meet these people. It seems like, and it doesn't really serve us when we talk about the person we want today in our life or the future that we have with a person. Like, when we look at this work friend, after the job is done, then there's no friend. There's no friendship. And I think that what I'd like to do is get people to stop thinking about friendships that way and think about them as a more intimate, closer relationship with another person. It's not just at work. It's not just sometimes. It's not just in the childhood or online. It is something else. There is something else associated with it. I'd like to just call those people friends if they are your friends, based on some specific actions and behaviors that they do. The specific actions and behaviors of friendships, for me, the one big thing that I look for is for people to talk about their feelings. Talk about how they feel about their experiences. If you're new at this podcast, you're new here, then you wouldn't know this, but I want to let you know that what I believe connection is, I say lasting connections, is the ability to share how you feel about your experiences being alive. We all want to share. We all want people to know how frustrated we are when things happen. We want people to hold space for us when we're very sad, when we're afraid. We want people to celebrate our joy with. And when you share those experiences with another person, that is, when you share how you feel with another person, I think you create a friendship. But it's not just you sharing your feelings. It's also about what they do in receiving your feelings. When they receive your feelings, what do they do with it? My friends, they appreciate it. My friends care about the things I care about. They care about how I feel about the things that I care about, even if they don't like Dungeons and Dragons, or if they don't care about Pokemon or stuff like that. They don't care about a TV show as I care about it deeply. They know the joy that I have for the experience with it, and they celebrate that with me. That's my friend. I don't know about your friend, but that's my friend. And I don't just see them at work, and I don't just know them from my childhood. They're just not online. They're just a friend. They're just a friend. And this is what I want to separate. I'd like to normalize calling some of those people who are our work friends or childhood friends, online friends, who are not comfortable with sharing their feelings or not holding space for you when you share your feelings, as somebody less than a friend. Somebody less than a friend. They could be an associate. They could be an acquaintance. They could be a stranger. For real. They can be a stranger. If you're not talking about how you feel about your experiences with them, and not receiving it and open and interested in what you share with them, then they're not a friend. I want you to normalize thinking that way. They're not a friend. They're a sometimes friend who uses you. That if you just stop calling them a friend, you could see them and expect different behaviors. You could see them as they are and expect different behaviors from them. And let me tell you the powerful thing about doing that is that you're not going to get your hopes up believing that they needed to be a certain way when they never were a certain way to you. If you start calling your work friends associates, you start calling those people who don't really hold space for you, who are not interested in how you feel about your experiences, if you start talking about them as if they were anything other than friends, you would be less hurt when they don't show up as a friend. You'd be less hurt. And you'll notice that it's not worth it to prioritize those people. Because if you stop saying that they are a friend, you won't think that you need to be loyal. You won't think that you need to connect with them. If you started calling them associates, it puts some emotional distance between you and that person. You'll call it out as it is, because if they're not interested in how you feel, there is emotional distance already. You're calling them a friend, you're denying it. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to look at your relationships with other people, these friends, people that you call your friends, your work friends, your childhood friends, your online friends, your supportive friends, your casual friends, your activity friends, your long distance friends, all those people. Look at those people and consider whether or not they care about how you feel about your experiences. Ask yourself, can you talk to them about your real feelings? Can you share your anger, your sadness, your fear, your joy? Can you talk to them for real? Without them making it about themselves, without them trying to fix the problem, without them telling you you're overreacting. Can you do that? If you can, that's great. Let's stop calling these people work friends, childhood friends, online friends. We want to talk to these people as if they are friends. We want to talk about them as if they are friends. Simply friends first. It's not associated with the fact that we work together. It's a friend at work. It's not a childhood friend. It's a friend that I've known since childhood. Because we want to make sure that action and behavior of them holding space for you, that is them hearing how you feel about things, is upfront. It's the most important thing. It doesn't matter where you met. It doesn't. So that's what we want to do, so we can categorize these people. For those people who come to mind and you think of, you're like, oh, they're not really my friends. They don't care about how I feel about things. We want to downgrade them and remove that word friend from the relationship. Move it. Get rid of it. You don't call them your friend on this side. They're an acquaintance. They're an associate. They might even be a stranger. You just drop those people down to a different level, because then you're going to stop thinking about them as people who should be holding space for you, who should be prioritizing you, because they're not. They're not. So you want to notice that. You want to notice that and create your relationships. If you find that you have so many of these people in your life that just aren't real friends, you don't know why, you don't know what to do about these friendships or these so-called friendships. You tried your best to be there for them. You wanted to support them and you're hoping that they would support you, but they don't. They don't do the things that you're looking for in relationships or friendships. If you find yourself stuck with this, I have something to help you out with that. I have something called I talk about the loneliness loop or the cycle of loneliness. So I have a presentation called Escaping the Loneliness Loop. I used to do this all the time on my social medias. I go live and I would talk about it all the time. Like, hey, here it is. And so many people were just, in love with it. They were asking about it. Like, can you just put it in a presentation so that we can check it out? Can I get the recording? Can I do this? Can I do that? Yeah, absolutely. So what I've done is I put it on YouTube. So if you check out my YouTube channel, you'll find it, and it talks about the cycle of loneliness. It talks about escaping that loneliness loop, getting away from those people who are really not your friends. We want to understand why we get stuck in that situation. So I talk about these five stages where you go through stage 1 to 5 and you go around and around over and over again, thinking that you're doing something different, believing that you're going to meet new people, believing that you're going to make friends, but you keep doing something that gets you stuck. And so I identify that and I talk about it. And of course, I'm about actionable steps here. So I bring a solution. So this is what we're going to do. At the end of it, I tell you the 5 steps to connection and community. You get to connection and community with other people by doing the opposite, or not quite the exact opposite, but something different about yourself. There's something different about yourself, your behaviors, your actions. And this is one thing, qualifying these people. This is one thing, qualifying. You're not my friend, you're an associate. That's it.
Hey, Patterns of Possibility fam. If you'd like a little more guidance and hands-on support, then I've got great news. You can hire me as your own personal coach. Go to patternsofpossibility.com/coaching to apply for individual or group coaching. In this 12-week program, I'm going to help you make the meaningful connections that you deserve. After this coaching program, I promise you'll be able to do 3 things. 1, you'll be able to clearly identify who belongs in your tribe and who doesn't. Say goodbye to those people who are wishy-washy, you're unsure of. No, you will know for certain whether or not they deserve to be in the same space with you. And second, you are going to know that your thoughts and feelings are valid and worth expressing. So if you do have feelings about your friends not holding up boundaries or not holding up space for you or not meeting your needs, then you are not going to shy away from telling them. You will be able to communicate your boundaries in a clear, concise manner and advocate for yourself in your relationships. And finally, you are going to learn how to start and stop conversations with strangers and steer them towards topics that are interesting and important to you. I don't know about you, but I don't have weeks, months, years to discover whether or not me and my new friend have compatible values. If you know what you're looking for, you can discover if you're compatible in just a few conversations. If all this sounds good to you and you're ready to make those meaningful connections, go to patternsofpossibility.com/coaching to find out more information. Again, go to patternsofpossibility.com/coaching to find out more information. I look forward to working with you. Now it's time for your listener letters. If you have burning questions about your friendships and your platonic relationships with your coworkers and so forth, let me know. Write me at patternsofpossibility@gmail.com, and I might just read your letter out loud.
My friend doesn't know she's an energy sucker. How do I tell her? I have a relatively new friend that I met through mutual friends 4 or 5 years ago. We've since branched out from those mutual friends and cultivated our own friendship. She's a sweet girl, but I've noticed that she can be incredibly negative. When we get together, she is constantly sharing song stories. Even her accomplishments are always tinged with something negative. For example, I'm going back to school, but my mom asks me when I'm having kids. I hate our relationship. Then the waterworks. She shared with me that she cut off a friend because they said she's negative. I wish in that moment I had said, yes, girl, you are. I cannot tell you the amount of times I've gone to a bar with her hoping to just let loose and have been on the receiving end of some teary-eyed confession. I appreciate that my friends feel vulnerable enough to cry with me, but a large part of me can't help but to feel like I'm her emotional punching bag. I once remember literally going out of my way to change the topic of conversation to something more positive, and she stared at me blankly, refusing to speak, almost as if to say, if we're not complaining, I'm not interested. When I reverted the conversation back to a problem I was having, there was a literal shift in her energy, and she got excited to discuss said problem. I don't know if she lacks self-awareness or she just doesn't give a shit about the emotional toll it takes on others to endure her sob stories. As a result, I've designated her as a friend I can only see once every couple of months. However, as I get older, my friendships mean more to me, and I think I owe it to her to be more direct. How would you handle this? I really like this because this person, they didn't mention their age, but they're getting older, I would imagine in their 20s or something, early 30s, something like that. But they can reflect and realize that they want to talk about other things. And quite often when I talk about friendships and connection is being able to talk about how you feel about your experiences with other people. And this person can clearly not do that. Our friends are people that we're able to share our feelings with. We're able to tell people about how we feel. We're able to tell our friends how we feel. So this person who is a friend, as they label as a friend, they're struggling, I think, with the right language to label them. And I think maybe labeling them as a friend happens because there is nothing else. Maybe it's really rude to label them as associate. But essentially, I think this person could label them as that. They're like, look, I can only talk to them once every couple of months. Every time I see you, it's a letdown. Every time I see you, I have to handle you and your feelings. I'm not your therapist. This is not what they're saying, but it is what they're saying. They didn't say it in those words, but they're essentially like, look, I need to be able to talk to you about things too. And I don't know how to handle this, though. I really want to be able to tell you things, but I don't know how to handle the situation with you. I don't. Because your friendships, her friendships means more. When you get older, they mean more. You don't have as much time to go out there and just mess around and do whatever it is that you want because you have obligations. Like, you just can't go out and party and spend a lot of time trying to get to know people and such because you have to go to bed. You have to take care of yourself. You have to get up for work. You have to commute to work. You have to do the work. You have to have the energy to cook for yourself or clean for yourself. You have to have the energy to do things for your own well-being. You don't have time to be messing around with other people, and you don't have time to be trying to figure out other people. You want them to be able to fit into your lifestyle. This is what we're looking for in our friendships. And this person clearly does not. They're an energy sucker. To answer their question, to heal this relationship, and healing this relationship doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get closer together and spend more time together. The healing is the understanding of how other people feel about their experiences. Like, your quote unquote friend here, now associate, one that you can see every few months, Redditor, they don't know how you feel about your experience with them. And because you're not telling them, you're disconnected. So of course, what we want to do is tell them. It's not easy. We want to make sure we don't hurt their feelings. We don't want them to be in pain. We don't want them to be frustrated with us. We don't know how to deliver it right. What if they don't hear what we have to say? So many things come into play when actually telling them, because we know we need to deliver this information. You know you need to deliver this information. It's just how to get it to this person. How to get it to this person, and then what happens when you deliver it to them. That's the thing that we're kind of cautious of when we run into these situations. So what I'd like to share with you is everything that you shared here on I would just actually like you to read your Reddit post to them and share, specific instances in which you felt a certain way. Like, I feel like I can't talk to you because of X, Y, and Z. Here are some situations. What I really want from you is X, Y, Z going forward. What I really want for you is to talk about some cheerful things and hold space for me too. That's what friends do. That's my idea of a friendship. This is what we want to make sure we communicate. So you're not resentful. You're not frustrated because they're not doing the things that you want them to do. You make sure that you're able to have a friendship with them if you tell them about the things you want them to do. And if they're not capable of doing those things, then you downgrade them. You let them know that they are no longer your friend in some way, shape, or form. I can't hang out with you as much, such and such, but you make that clear separation. Prioritize those people that prioritize and care about your feelings.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. If you like this podcast, share with someone who you think could benefit from this information, and follow me on social media. You can find me at Patterns of Possibility on all social media, and I go live on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can catch me and learn more about these social connections and interact with other people who are looking for the meaningful connections, who share the same kind of stories, and be in community. And don't forget to sign up for my newsletter at patternsofpossibility.com, where you will get actionable steps delivered to your mailbox every week. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, take care.